I'm going to do a clap first to sync the audio. Hopefully future me will have been able to sync at that time. So, in the last video, the audio was horribly synced. I think it was something like a second behind. And I went into YouTube Studio after, but it was hopeless. Anyways, this time I actually went for a bike ride because the weather's blessings have continued. And I want to talk a little bit about challenging yourself. There are many ways to do this, and I'm sure some will tell you that your method is incorrect, but that goes for anything. But something that I like to do with my photography is I will go to a specific area and take pictures there, but then come back again and again and again just to see what I can force myself to make from being there. Because if I have to make something, then there's a sort of creative pressure to that to make something good when you repeat it like that. Like you come here over and over and you know the place super well. But today's a little different because, well, I've actually never been here before. I've ridden by here before, but never been here, and especially not in fall. But I'm finding it to be a really beautiful place. I'm currently in a sea of bushes. There's not very many leaves left, but the ones that are surprisingly green. The ground is, of course, littered with leaves. So this will be future me, because putting things in chronological order isn't exactly a strong suit of mine. But I'm going to go around this area just where I've set up to film here and just see what pictures I can capture. Lately I've been experimenting with macro photography, and it's very interesting to me how perspective changes as you get down low. Like there's this one picture which I will presumably flash on screen right now, where I went under a bush and I lined up my camera so you could just see a little bit of the outside world, but it was mostly the bush. And I found that to be very interesting. And especially I've always loved just taking macro shots of flowers in various circumstances. So yeah, I used to be, it was auto mode, didn't really know what I was doing. I just lined up the phone with the flower and I thought, hey, this is a pretty flower. I want to take a picture of it. That'll be a nice picture. But it's different now in the sense that I have a creative vision when I see something. Like, you sort of mess around for a while before you find something that works. And when you find that something that works, you don't always realize it, which I think is very interesting. For example, in the last video, I had this picture of what was it? No, not the last video, the first video. I had this picture of a rose, and it was night, so it was kind of dark, but there was like concrete behind it, and I had lined it up. I didn't realize that I lined it up perfectly, but I think I did really well on that shot. And so when you challenge yourself like this, the requirement is never, in my opinion, to make something good, because you don't know what's good. The requirement is to make something new. If you can make something that's different than what you've made before, there's a much higher chance that it will be good. And that's not to say that what you've made before is bad, but when you learn to innovate and put your ideas into a different container, you can really change the way your art is seen. Like that rose, I didn't think it was very much different from any other rose picture, but I had a few people comment on it in the places that I shared it. And I just think that's a really interesting concept. Because on the one hand, you have this vision that what you've made is kind of mediocre at best. But then you have people telling you, like, this is great. And obviously, you'll get people lying to you. You know, they'll say, hey, that's great, because they don't want to hurt your feelings, or they don't want to ruin your friendship just for the sake of honesty. That can happen sometimes. Luckily, I've been pretty blessed with that. But the ones that are honest bring you a really valuable lens into your work. Like, this goes for really any art, visual or otherwise. But you don't always see your work the way that the world will. And well, the way that the world sees your work isn't the thing that matters the most, unless you're a professional photographer, in which case, well, you know. But you should always listen to those people. Something that I've really struggled with is I still don't think that what I make is good or high quality. But when I go back and look at it, I'm like, wow, this is amazing. But subconsciously, I really don't think that. Because, you know, I'll send a picture to somebody because I'm like, hey, you know, this person probably wants to see a nice picture and I'm excited about this. I want to share it with them because they're a friend of mine. And they'll say, this is amazing. And I'll just give like a canned response like, thank you. But that response is kind of self-deprecating in a way. Because even though I'm acknowledging the person's enjoyment of my photography, I'm not acknowledging what I've made. Because when I say thank you to somebody, all I'm really saying is, like, you know, I don't want to be rude. I don't think I'm very good, and I don't think there's really any way you could convince me otherwise. And so it's a really good grounding point to just share what you've made with people and give them the benefit of the doubt when it comes to their knowledge of what makes a good picture. Like, it's very, very hard to know when what you've made is good. There are so many factors that go into what makes a good picture, but at the end of the day, it's all subjective. You don't really know if what you've made is good until you sort of bring it outside of that biased landscape of your mind. And, you know, I have to wonder how many artists over the years have just faded and stopped creating because they thought what they had made wasn't good. I mean, I feel like I could have easily done that. I'm not exactly someone with the highest self-esteem. I mean, I like to think I do, but I still don't believe that I can make anything creative good. I don't believe that I'm really cut out for that. But a lot of people have come to me and told me that, you know, this is an amazing picture. Like, and one person even said, like, I didn't really know what to think because of my self-esteem, but someone said, like, hey, you know, I like your pictures that you took at this event better than the pictures taken by the professional photographer. And on the surface, you know, I could kind of understand that, but it still didn't fully register. And this is why I think that hearing other people's opinions is not a waste of time. And of course, some people will give you sort of canned responses. They'll say, oh, cool. You know, I get that from people a lot too. But when people really take the time to say, wow, this is amazing, like when they can appreciate your art in that way, it gives a whole new meaning to your art. We all create for someone or something or some vision we have. but I guess we really don't know if what we're making is good until we have brought it into the outside world, until we've printed it and seen it in all its glory. So, for the 5 people that will see this, I guess my message would be that if you're a young, creative person, don't give up because you think what you've made is bad. Never give up because of that. Because what you think is bad is almost exclusively never what other people will think is bad. I still think a lot of my photos are bad, and those same photos other people have said are amazing. You can't really trust yourself when you're inclined to be modest. At least most people are. I'm not really sure. Can't say I have a great understanding of people. But yeah, for today I'm just gonna go around this little area here. I'm probably not even gonna go very far, just a few meters into the bushes maybe, and take some macro shots or some abstracts with the sky. Yeah, so you'll be seeing those now.